Ayo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.
Can you share a bit about your journey as an artist and how you evolved to the point of releasing Sly and Agatha?
Oh, it's crazy. Through the timeline. My artistry timeline starts from like many others as a teenager. Just loving this hip hop thing. Being in secondary, I just skim over it because it's a long story. Meeting like-minded individuals in secondary school, K's or O's, your bad companies, you know, a few others that's notable in the scene. And just pursuing this, coming out of secondary, then going into college, knowing that we can study sound engineering and just learn the ropes. So everybody goes off on their separate pathways to learn. The ones that don't go into education, you know, that's hustling and doing other stuff, they put their money into musical equipment. Yeah. So it's just a constant cycle, whether you're studying it or doing it on your own in your yard. We just became a circle there. Legion of the North Star making demos around the Channel U time of that being prominent, and certain artists that household names now just bursting through off the radio. We were making demos in that era, and it just grew. Yeah, it grew. But then we kind of dispersed as a group. You know, some man's got disheartened and there were fallouts. You know, I kept very close with everybody, you know, but there was internal disputes that kind of mashed things up, and everyone kind of got disheartened, apart from a few of us, and I was one of the few that just kept it moving. Okay. That just led to me hooking up with .I, formerly known as Jesus, technical development now known as Know What It Is, you know, through Vague the Torchbearer, that's an verses with bad effects, my connection to him living in my area, him knowing that I rap, don't waste the talent. These are some mans doing what you're doing. Kept me alive in the music, literally. I was ready to just go on the roads, man. I was ready to go on the roads fully, you know, baby on the way, this stuff, ready to fully go on the roads. And you know, Richie was like, nah. Vague was like, no way, man. He's like, you've been doing this for a minute and he's dedicated. Meet my people. And when I met them, I was like, well, he's got a vinyl coming out. He knows just and da-da-da-da-da and this and that. Man, I listened to you. Yeah. Like, raw, maybe I'm half in the door now. You're right. And I kept pressing from there. Okay. Kept pressing.
There's a little sidebar, yeah, and I was going to say this earlier, but you see, one thing that's very standout, you see all the names that you've mentioned, the names of the people you mentioned, just the names alone makes me think, who's that? I want to know more about them, because there's something about the era that we're from when it comes to this rap shit. We come from that perspective. Well, this is just my outlook on it, is where we wasn't trying to copy or be like anybody. It was all very unique. So all the names, when you're saying all these names, they're like, I'm like, right, that name's interesting. Who's that? What's that about? You see, like now it's little this, little that. You know,
unoriginal titles, or they put the name of their gang, you know, MBA in front of their name. Yeah. So you can.
There's no mysticism. There's no intrigue.
It's not.
Yeah, that just came to me when you said that.
That's real talk. The names are not so creative these days. I get you. We wanted unique names when we grew up. We were from the era of like comics and anime and stuff, man. You had to be your own unique entity.
That's right. Yeah. That's right, brother. Who are your biggest musical influences, and how have they shaped your style and sound?
You know what? Just to not be cliche, I'll name the ones outside of hip hop. Yeah. Bob Marley's. Gregory Isaacs. We could go into R&B, Anita Baker's, you know, Shaka Khan's. Just everything that my folks played to me in my formative years before hip hop got to me is my inspirations, and those names that I cited and more, going from the R&B rare groove era into New Jack Swing and that kind of 90s style slow jam, the swing era, great era. The R&B that was heavily hip hop with SWVs, into that 90s era where Def Jam got massive and it just running the whole show, just right through into the thousands and the digital era coming in and just kind of just mashing the thing, man. When we had to all adapt, man, or sink or swim. So yeah, I've been through the eras, man, so I really appreciate everything that's everything. And these youngsters now making tracks and in tunes, they wouldn't know that track that they're banging to, there's two more versions to that. Someone done in the 80s, someone done it before that. For them to, it's like, you got to know the history of what you're in to be a true disciple and do it properly.
How do you feel the UK hip-hop scene has influenced your music, and how do you contribute to its growth?
The UK hip-hop scene is... It's crazy. It's like a paradigm, like the UK hip hop scene, because you got the upper echelon, the stratosphere, your Riches, your Gets, you know, your Central C's. Then you got no middle ground, and then you got where I feel we stand. You know, just as the underground artist that if you're really looking for like that raw sound and you dig, you'll find that.
Right.
I feel where them guys and I think that the internet, social media has made the playing field more leveled and balanced with that. But then at the same time, my influences from UK music when I was a teenager, it was still the two-step garage era. That's what was popping on the roads, and then the two-step started getting dark and turning into grime. And we were MCing around those times, but I didn't really take on the grime thing. I used to do a little MCing over the two-step thing. I used to like to do the fast thing over jungle. You know, with my uncle. We'll get to that later in the talk, but jungle's something that's always been around me in my time growing up. But I'd say, yeah, the two-step garage era into the early days of grime, and then I'd say, yeah, that kind of Channel U era of everyone trying to do their thing. There was no quality control on that, but I liked it because it started opening the door and you see, oh, right, him from down there, yeah, that man in Hackney Blocks, making a video,
right.
Okay, we can do a little thing as well.
That's right.
It inspired a lot of man. As much as they want to diss it and say, oh, I know you, don't even diss it, because it gave a lot of man life.
Yes, it did.
Their careers life. So, like, I think that was pivotal. And, yeah, just then the internet era, just having to adapt and move with the times, which I noticed that a lot of artists didn't. It was hard for them to keep up with the wave. So I think those moments as in being inspired, when I came into listening to UK hip hop, Jess, Task Force, Rodney P, Carl Hines, who else we looking at? Out the Ville, you know, Estelle Scorsese, Capo, one of my favorite MCs. I think he's one of the best in this thing, just in hip hop and general lyricists. I came in that era, and not forgetting Universal Soldiers, man, Big Brother Rick B. You know, I came in off that era, that kind of UK hip hop, and it inspired me. I was rapping in American till I heard all that shit. Literally, I was rapping how I felt I should sound as an MC,
right,
with no education on the thing properly yet.
Yes.
And when I started educating myself and being around certain mans that were, I think it was K Zoro showed me a Fight Life Cypher album, and Universal Soldiers. Everything's like Universal Soldiers specifically. When I took that home, Street Veterans, and I put that in my CD player and listened to it, I thought these man sound like us. Like us. He's talking about Edmonton. I lived down the road from there at the time. He talking about West Green Road in Tottenham, the Yardies. I know that, I go past it every day.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not writing like this. I changed everything.
I hear you.
Yeah, I changed everything. So that was very important in my growth. Just that I don't know if you want to call it a golden era in the UK hip hop from about 9, 7, 8 into like the early noughties, say like 04s, 5, 6.
Right.
That span of UK hip hop. I bought a lot of albums. Hip Hop Connection magazine. That went different. I had loads of those.
Yeah.
Every single issue, because it was the only UK one coming out that I could look at and think, yeah. They put the American man in it, but they put a lot of UK shit.
Yes.
A lot of new projects out where you can reach for vinyl. It was my Bible for that.
I hear
So
you.
that's
right.
That's my era. That inspired me to like, I can do this.
Yeah.
'Cause there's man down the road doing that.
Yeah.
Well, why can't I?
Made sense. What challenges have you faced in your career, and how have you overcome them?
Challenges. When you say challenges, that's quite broad. Challenges as in.
I would say challenges like, you know, things that, you know, like, just in life in general, how things just like obstacles always land in front of you when it comes to musically though. Like, you know, when something lands in front, you're thinking, why is this here? Yeah. But then rather than just letting it flipping overpower you, you're just like, I'm going to bust through that, or I'm just going to swerve around that and keep moving.
You know, that's a good question, because no one's ever asked me that question like how you just asked it. And it's like, if I was reasoning off camera or anything with a man, that kind of common conversation, you know what I'd say, really, it's like life inspires what I do. I have to live life and go through hard times and ups and downs to be able to have the content I write and feel a certain way to give you my art in a certain way.
Yes.
If it was all like roses and sweet, you probably wouldn't have Ray Vendetta, because there'd be no need for there to be a Ray Vendetta. So I think that I project my art based off what I go through. Therefore, like hardships, you know, they only last so much amount of time. You know, we can't call what's around the corner as far as health and just things that happen in life, you know, people passing away and things like that. We can never call that, but what we do have, I believe, is just like some kind of degree of power to control and shape our own destiny, man. You know what I mean? Regardless of our ups and downs.
Because I would definitely say, just from, you know, the album that we were speaking about, what I'm getting from you is just a person who's dealing with real issues. You're not like trying to be that guy who's just going to be pulling from the cloud, if you want to call it that, and then say, you know, that sounds good, I'm just going to fling that in.
Fling that, nah.
From when you're saying all that, and then you know, because I remember going through some of the discography, looking at stuff, and I remember seeing the picture you're talking about at the gravesite, and you know, that is just a real, that's very real. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I get where you're coming from, bro. What advice would you give to aspiring rappers looking to make their mark in the UK music industry?
No?
Yeah.
Believe in yourself first and foremost. Just believe in yourself, your art, your craft, because, you know, you're going to be your own biggest supporter at the end of the day. You're going to be your own biggest investor, and unless you know people. They say it comes down to, you know, and the talent, but it's who you know more. I don't believe so. I believe it's just believing in yourself, you know, building your talent up, and just staying persistent. Consistency is the key. I know loads of guys and girls that were on this thing as hard as me when I started, and were really on it. Some harder than I was. That inspired me to get better at my thing, and they just fell by the wayside, man. Like life hit them, like you just in that question. Certain things come in and they just lost their whole mojo. It was gone.
Yeah.
Like, literally, you don't want to come in a lab and I'm writing this and I'm trying to nudge certain man to come back and gallon on it. And on it, nah, Ray, things have changed now, this, that, I'm after. I'm like, understand. And some of them like, oh, we're amazed that you still do it, and it's been years since we were kids. And I say, because this is what I love. I put in 10,000 hours and beyond.
Yes.
So I love this. So this is normal to me. I can't not do this now.
Yeah.
So that's how I look on that.
Yo, what's outside is within. The mind regulates the hand that masters the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword, but the tongue is mightier still. The stargate to the mind's revealed. The vortex.